Kia ora tātou, no mai haere mai. Wade Manson here from Whiti Ora Tairāwhiti, and you're listening to our podcast, The Sideline Yak. On this episode of The Sideline Yak, we're switching things up a bit, because today we are talking about play and why it matters just as much as sport.
Play is where the magic is. It's where the magic happens. It's in between all the spaces. It's where you learn so many things. It's where you find your special talent. It's where you have the opportunity to take a risk.
We're joined by three local play champions, Anna Tolich and Nina Kirikiri from Whiti Ora Tairāwhiti. Anna is the play lead and Nina the Māori Tākaro lead. And alongside them is Katie Kennedy, the play advocate at Gisborne District Council. We chat about the play memories that stick with us, why risky play is actually full of learning, and what gets in the way for tamariki today, such as time, screens, busy lives, and sometimes us, adults. We also explore play through a Te Ao Māori lens, and how Tākaro shows up not just physically, but through whānau, stories, and connection. So here's a wee challenge as you listen. Think back to your earliest play memory. And if you can, share it with someone this week, or feel free to add it to the comments. So sit back and have some fun with Anna, Nina, and Katie. Please enjoy. Kia ora.
Kia ora koutou, welcome to the Sideline Yak. Awesome to have you three here. Going to make things a little bit easier, and we're just going to go around the room and say who we are and what we do within the play space. So we'll start with Anna.
Kia ora te whānau, ko Anna Tolich tuku ingoa kei Whiti Ora Tairāwhiti ahau e mahi ana. Say I have the best job in the world. I get to promote play and the importance of play at Whiti Ora Tairāwhiti. That involves working with schools, kura, our community, and alongside my play champions, who you'll meet in a minute, Nina and Katie. So kia ora.
Kia ora, I'm Nina. I'm the Māori Tākaro lead for Whiti Ora. I don't know what else to say.
That's all right. That's fine. Not a problem.
Kia ora e te whānau. I'm Katie Kennedy and I'm the play advocate for GDC. So my role is all about championing the value of play across our teams and working to think about how play can be embedded in everything from urban design to parks to strategy and policy and everything in between. It's a pretty awesome role, and I work with incredible people, and I also work with lots of community groups and people doing amazing work for our communities like Whiti Ora.
Awesome. Thank you. Great to have you three here. This might be a little bit different, but obviously with the Sideline Yak, we're normally talking about sport, but it's been interesting. The episodes that we have had play has come up quite a bit in that space, and it's been talked about a little bit. So I thought it'd be nice to have something around what play looks like and where we're going within Tairāwhiti around play. Just to start us off, can you please share a childhood memory or moment that shaped how you think about play today?
This is something that we do with every stakeholder meeting that we have, is to get people to share their childhood memory of play, or that one epic play day that they remember. And most of the time it's always outside, which like 99% of the time it's always outside. My play memory is going on holiday to Goa to my gran's. She had this amazing fairyland playground which went down a big hill, and it was just full of gnomes and all the leftover legacy of my mum growing up. And when I hear people's play memories, I like to do a little bit of a fortune teller, because I think there's a great connection to your epic play memory and what your mahi is now. And I feel like that playing in that garden and with the chickens and eating the cranberries and things like that led me to become a landscape architect, and then into this play role where I helped to overlay play across Aotearoa. So that's my play memory.
Cool. Nice. That's it.
So I grew up in the country at Māngatuna, and across from our house was a hill, and that hill was our playground. And so we would run up, slide down, roll down, cardboard down. We used to try and take the tubes, but those tubes were used for kinners. Mm-hmm. So they were taken out to sea. So if we got caught, we got in trouble. But that was our playground. That's the memory I have foremost in my head.
Nice.
I think a lot of those play memories that people have an element of risk or something that they remember that had that moment that makes you think back to. For me, mine was, I grew up in Sandspit, which is north of Auckland, and I lived on the back of a farm, and we had a 2.5 acre kauri forest that was our play space. And my neighbours were pretty adventurous people, and they built a adventure playground. And one of those things was an obstacle course that started at 3 metres high off the ground. And for me, it's that adventure, but it's that feeling of, oh my goodness, can I do this? And that incredible feeling of accomplishment once you've actually done those things. Also love how play memories help us to understand how play has changed over generations and what that looks like, and it helps to tell a story and get people to connect in different ways. I think it's a really powerful tool.
And when we've captured play memories in the past, going back to risky play, there's never any adults in there. So it's outside, risky play, no adults. And that's what I think we've just all expressed that. What about your play memory?
Yeah, well, I just want to touch on that risk piece, because when I think back, like I remember going down the hill in the cardboard, but we were out in the country, and we would, especially when the cousins turned up, we all headed towards the river. And it's like no parents around. It was just a whole lot of kids at the river. And you sort of think now, like that would probably be frowned upon, like a whole lot of kids at the river just mucking around. Like we did mud slides, we'd be swimming, we'd do everything. And you're literally gone until it started getting dark. Or one of our parents would, traipse across the paddocks to come and see where we were. But yeah, it was just always with people. If it was climbing trees, it was all of those sort of things that now potentially could be frowned upon. And I just wanted to sort of move towards that. What are your thoughts on risky play, like around that, getting messy, exploring outside, no matter the weather? But there was that kind of freedom that we had. So I guess, what are your thoughts on risky play in today's world?
I think we were allowed to do a lot of things, like you said. We were allowed to climb the trees. We were allowed to go to the river. If I think about it, I think that it was almost like preparation. Each stage was a preparation for the next stage and for the next stage. Our kids don't have that. So it's like we could do this, and it prepared us for that. And then the next stage prepared us for that. All that risk taking.
It's all the life skills.
Yeah.
All those life skills. Yeah.
And you're also learning what your tolerance to risk is along the way. So you understand how far you're prepared to push yourself, and you learn it in those really safe environments, often with your peers, and you're not forced to learn some of those things when you're in slightly more risky environments, when you think about things like driving cars and making decisions that can have much bigger impacts later on.
Because you just don't see kids with broken arms now, or what they call, up the coast they call it a play badge, like the skinned knee or the skinned arm, or you don't see that anymore. And that's why we all have jobs. What New Zealand has created jobs for us is because our tamariki aren't growing up the same way we did, with that freedom to play, a risk, to come home when the street lights turn on.
And there's lots and lots of reasons for that, and I think we'll probably unpack that a little bit more later, but that is why our jobs are here, to think about creating spaces and moments for play, so that our tamariki and rangatahi are able to experience those things in those ways and make those connections.
And there's a lot of research now in terms of the mental health of our tamariki at the moment is because they're not getting those risky play opportunities. And that's a field that we're kind of wanting to create those opportunities to take the risky play. But I think will come up in this conversation, is the kids are fine. The kids will play with a cardboard box and climb the tree. It's the adults in their lives that are creating all these boundaries. And that's who we're really working with.
Then I think, like, I've got 2 mokos, and we went to the lights a couple of weeks ago, and one of them, the older one's fine on a tree, but the younger one was like edging her way across the branch, and I was like there. And then it was going up, and I thought, I'm not tall enough to reach her if she falls. So I said, come on, get down. So I'm one of those people that sort of makes it hard for kids to do that risky stuff.
The came up in conversation yesterday, though, was that females tend to be like, be careful, and the males like, she'll be right. And men have a real important role in play because they are the ones that encourage the risky play, especially the rough and tumble for girls is really important. Of how the girl's brain wires, and also learning those boundaries of how they feel safe and how to control things. Yeah,
I often get asked, or I used to get asked by my kids when they were little, Mum, can you lift me up and put me on the thing? And we always talked about that as being, you climb and I'll be there to support you, but you need to climb as far as you feel comfortable, and then you get down, and we'll figure that out as we go. But for you to learn and understand that experience and grow your resilience and build your skills, it's actually really important for you to understand where your tolerance is. But I'm always here if you need that support in those moments.
If you get yourself up there, you have to get yourself down.
Yeah, I understand that quite a lot.
Yeah.
So if we just take a back step and we look at defining play, when we talk about play, what does that really mean to you? What's your personal take on it?
There have been whole books written on trying to define play. It's quite a hard thing to define. I read a definition recently and it really resonated with me, and it was, play is a universal human experience that connects people of all ages to joy. And it just made me smile and really think about it. And I've got another friend and colleague in the play world, and she simply defines it as play is all the things that you do for fun. And I really like the simplicity of that. But I think it means something a little bit different to everyone because it's founded in or grounded in how you played. So what we might think is play, the next generation might not quite define it in that same way. So for me, because of my experiences, it's all about curiosity, imagination, exploration, joy, all of those kind of things. Other people might have a different take on that.
It's definitely child-led. Although play is across the lifespan, we all still play, and we should, for it's good for our well-being. It's spontaneous. You don't know what the outcome is. If you know what the outcome is going to be in a game of rugby, you have no idea what the outcome is going to be in play. And that's when you know it's pure play, because you don't know what it's going to be. It can be, you can repeat it, but you don't know what's going to happen, and it should be different every time. And it should be fun and challenging and sociable, and it's usually outside in nature. Yeah.
I think if I look at play in Te Ao Māori, in Matariki, there's a specific playtime and in Matariki, but it's a part of who we are. Like, you can't have me and not play, and you can't have you and not play. So it's like you can't have me and I'm not an any type thing. It's who we are.
When we talk about joy, curiosity, spontaneous, are we still seeing that today?
Not really. And I think partly is in what our job is to elevate the importance of play. Is play still that thing, is go outside and play, or playtime at school is the not learning time, but it is the most important learning time, especially in the first 1,000 days for our new babies. But yeah, I don't think
we're definitely not seeing it in the same way that we used to, I agree. And a lot of that time, things are set up for kids to do. Right. So there's a lead, this is how you do it. And they're often looking for the next cue of what comes next and where it comes from. Whereas the beauty of unstructured play and where you get all of those human qualities from and all of the things that play teaches you is when you're doing it in a way that's unstructured. And often there's no adults adding cues in or adding moments in. But because lives are busy and they're so structured now, often there is this, you need to be learning all the time, or time is short, let's create a moment of play.
And I think you'd see it in our tamariki and even ourselves and our adults, is when you're totally in the zone and you're really enjoying something, whatever it is, baking a cake, whatever, that's the play, and you've honed into the pure play. You don't know what the outcome's going to be, but you're just in the moment.
You've completely lost track of time. You're in that moment.
Yeah, and we've all had that in our childhood. We just talked about it, but it's only sprinkles of that happening now, and you almost have to step back as an adult to let that happen now.
In terms of that as an adult, like what would we be looking for? Like, because like to step back is, because then it comes into the risk, or risk comes into it. There's all these factors that come into it, but how are some ways of us as adults stepping back and just letting kids play?
I think my kids would attest to the fact that if they come out and they say, Mum, I'm bored, my response to that is generally, that's wonderful. This is where all the good stuff happens. And they turn around and walk in the other direction. Oh, mum. Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
What was the question?
What can we do as adults?
What can we do as adults to step back and allow kids to play? Like, that's the thing, like, because there's obviously inherent risks associated with play now. Like, we can't go into the river by ourselves. You've got to have a parent with you. Can't play on the streets because there's too many cars now. They're going too fast.
It's not about going back in time. Like, we can't do that. We can't suddenly all take over the streets because streets have been taken over by cars. We can't go and play cricket like we used to. But it is just creating the time, space and permission for our children to play. So the time at our tamariki is so overscheduled now. They will be going from one activity to another. Our whānau are busy. They're all working a lot of jobs. And permission, there's no permission to play on the streets anymore. To roam, our roaming distances have really gone down. But it's really just tackling in your own house what you can do to step out and let opportunities happen. Embrace the mess, I say too. Like, let them make those muddy puddles or those huts in the lounge. They might drive you a bit crazy, but there's so much learning going on there.
I think it's also important to acknowledge that some of that stuff, especially around those safety concerns, there's information in there as parents that once you know those things, you can't unknow those things. And what would happen if you let your child go and do things is something that plays in people's heads. I think one thing that you can do is get to know your neighbourhood a little bit more. So get to know your neighbours, spend time at your park, understand what kids are living around you, all of those kind of things. As you build those connections, you'll feel more and more comfortable for your kids to play a bit more. So it's letting them move a bit further, but also allowing your comfort levels to be there, because I think both have to be in tandem to allow particularly that roaming distance kind of play happen a little bit.
I think it's good up the coast, like kids have that freedom. And there are slower streets, but in town, people are building those big high fences. You don't know your neighbours anymore. People move around a lot, so it is about creating those community connections.
They're not all that self-directed either, children. They need to be directed. And I guess that comes from school. You know, at school they're getting direction all the time. And so when they're home, it's what can we play? And so you have to direct them into what they can do or what games they can do.
There's also more things, which I think sometimes is a blessing and sometimes is a curse. Where the kids have so many things to play with, sometimes it's when you only have limited resources, you think a lot about what you can do with those things. But when there's so much stuff around, sometimes your mind almost goes blank because you don't know what to do with it beyond what you should do with it or it's perceived you should do with it.
It's just about getting outside, really. Like at the Lights Festival, the thing I noticed was all the kids on the trees.
Yes.
There was all these amazing things everywhere, and all they wanted to do was to climb the tree. It's going outside, spending time in nature. What shape could you see in the clouds? Well, and the stuff that we used to do as kids too. Yeah.
And I think that when you're out there with them in parks, and I do this with my kids and on beaches, when you go and you ground yourself in that space, because that's where I find myself the most grounded and the most calm if I need a moment outside the house. And your kids can run so much further because you can see them so much further, and suddenly they get this autonomy that they might not be able to have in your own environment or down your street or across the road or whatever that looks like. And it's creating spaces to give that distance and let them just be kids and run around and do whatever they want to do. Yeah. Make all the noise.
It's not all about playgrounds. There's lots of places to play.
Talking about, like, there's so much stuff out there now that takes them away from playing. If we look at, and I know people probably going to hate me say this, but like that technology, PlayStations, TV, all that sort of stuff, like, you know, sometimes the TV's the babysitter. What are some of the biggest barriers to play that you see? And is that probably one of the bigger ones? And then how do we overcome that? Like, I know you mentioned like going out into nature and stuff like that, but how do we overcome more of these barriers that are popping up within society today?
Tablets they're huge, you know, online, on screens and all of that. And I think parents sometimes need to be parents and, you know, say that's enough, get off. I was talking to someone just before I came here about, I don't know if you want to, about how parents now are getting younger and younger, and so they don't really know how to parent. And so to keep a child quiet, they just give it what it wants. And that follows them throughout the years. And so you get to a point where all the children want are the screens. And so they give it. And, and then obesity kicks in and all that kind of stuff. So it's like a dominoes effect. If parents could just take time out to parent. And, I'm talking about my own family. I've got nieces who, will give in to the children and say, well, here why then if that's going to shut you up.
Sometimes it's easier to have those hard and fast rules.
Yeah.
Those things than to negotiate all the time.
Yeah.
And it's about role modelling too.
Yes.
Like tech is a great tool and we're in a place that is amazing for that. And it does offer a lot of play opportunities, but it's just a tool. And we have to role model how much screen time that we ourselves do. And the adults are probably the biggest barrier to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
You mentioned it before, Anna, that time, space and permission, and tech falls into that. Lives are busy, and when you're trying to juggle everything that the world is throwing at you, sometimes it is easy to use devices. And I think we can't go back to past generations. There's no way of doing that, like you said before. So we have to acknowledge what those barriers are, but really look at how we can make those small steps, like I was saying, getting to know your neighbours. Because if you know your neighbours and the kids are happy playing together, they're building those social connections, they're doing their thing, and you still are being able to do your thing as well. So it's those incremental changes that I think can make quite a lot of difference. Unstructured play, the kind of play that we're talking about, actually doesn't take adult intervention. In fact, it shouldn't take adult intervention. They should be on the periphery. And so if even you can give an opportunity to play or a moment to do a thing or create a scavenger hunt where kids are out and they start by following exactly what you've said, and then suddenly they start exploring more and more, you're starting to give them those opportunities to explore, because it does take a bit. If you haven't done that, and if it hasn't been part of your world or your kids' worlds in those ways, you say, go play, and the kid says, but what do I do? And so
sad.
It is sad, but it's building those layers gently, so that exploration can happen.
And just having those conversations about health and safety. Like we did some work with Kura in Christchurch, and part of it was developing the health and safety for an event that they were planning. They were so good at it. They knew exactly what they needed to do to tick off. They knew who they were going to invite to the event. Like once you actually start asking them the questions, they are very aware of those kind of things. Yeah. But getting back to the tech, the thing that really gets me is giving the little ones the phone in the supermarket. There's so much learning there. Like, yes, it's not unstructured play and you can't let them run around. But then think of all the colours that you could talk about, or counting things going in and out, just simple things. It's just about that conversation and then all the learning that they can do.
Yeah.
There's times for the phone. Everyone needs that.
Yeah, we're not being the police on that. The tech police. No, that's nice, and I like it talking about like why play matters, and when you talk about role models, and we'll look at adults being the biggest barrier, but like we talk about the kids and how they're missing out on play, but like how do we get adults to play as well? Is there anything being done in that space, and just reminding adults that it's all right to have fun, it's all right to be able to role model what play looks like to kids?
So I take a group of nannies in Uawa, and when I first said we're going to play, they were only too old. And so we went through this whole journey of not defining yourself by age. And now they play like sometimes they want to have a scrap about it's in. No, it's not. And so it's just moving through, yes, you can. Just because you're this age doesn't mean you can't. They are now pulling out the old games that the Māori games that they learned. And so now I need to encourage them to share them with their mokos and with their children so that it doesn't die. And so but they're loving it. And so it's just taking that step toward them and say, yes, well, you can play. You're not too old.
We've got Play Week coming up. Something happens every year, Sport New Zealand initiative. And this year we're really focusing on adults. because we think they're the barrier to play. And part of it is reconnecting to their play memory. And I think once you connect someone to their play memory, back to their inner child and the thing that they did, that opens up that conversation, and then all those games come out. So we've got a bingo card with 25 Kimu and Tākaro to play, and it's just that hopscotch. It's the simple things. It's free. Build a hut. Just be playful around the tamariki in your life. And if you're not, I'm sure you're playing in other ways as well.
When you're doing some of those ones like hopscotch or like games that you used to play, you're opening up all of those conversation channels as well, and the joy that comes from them and from those scaffolded intergenerational conversations is so amazing. And it's those things that kids will often think back to or hark back to when they're talking to you about their play memories. Oh, I played with mum the other day, or my nanny took me out and we did this, and she told me when they were little they weren't allowed to, or this is how they do it and it looks different now. And there's an element of joy from them being able to make those connections and understanding between worlds.
Yeah. Nice. I like it. Looking at our statistics of who listens to the show, it sits probably in that 30 to 45 year age group. So it'd be cool to throw a challenge out to everybody to think of their earliest play memory and even share it with, if they've got kids, share it with their kids, or share it with the friends, just to be able to discuss this and get that, I guess, that momentum or even that conversation going around what it looks like for adults.
Yeah, and just to try new things as an adult. Like we're always worried about what the outcome's going to be, but play, we don't know what the outcome's going to be. Go join a new group or try something, or go for a walk and see what happens. Just be open to the openness of what can happen, and that is play. Yeah, we just don't call it that as adults.
We tend to call it things like well-being and that kind of thing, which it is as well, and that's the connection between those as adults. It's something that you're doing in a moment for you. And if you're doing those things, then you're connecting back to yourself a bit more. You are probably taking a moment to breathe in whatever way, or create something, or whatever that looks like for you, and you're looking after your own well-being. And you're learning and you're doing all of those things. So again, it's that definition of what play is. And I've talked about this before, but we're really lucky here in Tairāwhiti when we're having some of these conversations, because we're a recreational area and we've got people who are out doing things all of the time, from water sports, all kinds of different sports. And whether it's for fun or whether it's part of a team, it doesn't take much more to stretch to that play. And we're really lucky here in being able to have some of those conversations, because people are already there. They're here because they love doing what they do. They love connecting with outside. They love being active. They love the fun of it, the joy of it. So I do think we're lucky.
And I'm a big fan of the program Bluey, which was actually designed for adults originally, but then they've made it into a children's program, although a lot of adults watch it. And there's one episode where Bluey is a dog, if you don't know, and she wants to paint her nails on a stump in the backyard. But Dad's got his friends all around and they're going to dig the stump out, and he's having a dig out the stump party. And she doesn't want to know why she can't play with the stump, but her mum makes her sit back and watch the dads all having fun and joking and try to dig the stump out. And she said, but they're actually playing too. And that's when you realise adults play as well. So it's just, when you're in the zone having fun and you don't know what's going to happen, that's play.
Nice. Like it. Talking about sport, it's interesting. I had probably a few years back now, a group of Year 13 students come in. We're talking about what they love about sport and where they want to go and stuff like that. And one thing that really stood out was they wanted to play games that they used to play back when they were Year 7, Year 8, which was fun, like capture the flag and all those sort of games that they missed out now, because when they hit high school, they lose that fun, or because now they're all in sport, like heavily in sport. And I guess that's where I guess language comes along, because we all talk about we play sport. And then when you think about sport, like things are getting like more serious now, because not saying more serious now, but it's competition. So it's structure, it's like there's win or lose, things like that are happening, competition, training, winning. But how do we keep the spirit of play alive in our sporting spaces? And I know, Nin, I'm going to throw to you, because we had a little conversation probably earlier in the morning around
This morning.
it's on there. They'll probably go, this morning it's on. So we had a conversation around kia ora, how it came from a play space and now it's quite competitive. Are you able to elaborate on that a bit?
Kia ora, it has a whakapapa, and it has a pūrākau. And so there is in that game, all the tikanga, all the tangas are in that game, but we don't see that now. And the play spaces have a meaning, and a lot of kids don't know that because it's just been generalised as here are the rules. No, we'll play this. And so secondary schools play the general rules. But prior to that, it used to be whoever did the tono for it. So if Auckland put out that they wanted to host, it would be their rules. And so all the kids would learn the rules for up north. If Tairāwhiti put out the tono and won the tono, it would be Tairāwhiti rules. So Northland and Southland learnt Tairāwhiti rules, and so on. It just went around like that. But that's gone now. I'm not sure what happened. I think the kids, as far as I know, the kids were fine because they learnt all the different, the kawa from the different rohe, but it wasn't good it was hoha, I think, for coaches in schools to be having all these different rules. And so they blanketed it with just here are the rules. And so that's been lost. If we think about, if I look at the game, and one of the big things in there is our kaitiaki, and that's a person who can, if you've played kia ora, that's a person who's got peripheral view, can see everything, is always looking after. The kaitiaki is a person who looks after everybody. And they can call the shots and say, you need to rest, throw it back into me. That's what a kaitiaki does in a whānau as well. You need to rest. Give it to me for a minute. Go rest. And that's what a kaitiaki, and that's lost. I don't know if many people know that that's what the kaitiaki is for in the game. Is the person who looks after, who's got a view of the whole field, who's guarding all the time, the tupu, who's not letting anyone, or trying not to let anyone past to hit. The tupu is sort of short for tupuna. And so when I hear it being called a bin, I think, it just hurts the heart, because that's our tupuna that we're talking about. And then it's hit the bin. So all of that's been lost over years. And so our kaitiaki are standing there guarding our tupuna. What else is there? There's even, we play horohopu, which is poitoa. Poitoa actually came out of Kiorahi. And so poitoa is the korowai for all poi games. Horohopu, poi patu, poi, all those games come from poitoa, which comes from Kiorahi. Yeah, what else can I say? Is there a question you want to throw at me?
No, I guess, again, it comes back to adults. We don't want to bring things in here and say that's the worst. But it's I'm a coach. Obviously, everyone knows that. But it's still looking at how can, there is the structure of sport and you want people to learn and get things, but how do you still instill the values of play within there to be able to get them to have fun and enjoy themselves? And it's always a challenge because there's always that goal of we've got a tournament to get to, we've got to be able to get to here, but finding those moments of being able to add play in, or just if the kids are doing something and it looks like they've taken in a different direction, it's okay to let it go and see where it ends up. And I think that's, like you said before, just taking that moment to stand back and just let them go. I think I've talked about it before. I was late to training for some reason, I'm not too sure why, but the boys that I coach had started a game and they just started playing. And then they saw me and I just sat down in the dugout and just watched them. And it's just let them go. And they played for about 20 minutes. And it was just them running around having fun, yelling, going, and it was just really cool.
But you answered it really well. It's just that standing back, creating opportunities. And just, I don't know, instead of using hockey sticks, use something else for fun. Pool noodles, just try something different, because then there might be an opportunity that comes out of that. You've found a new way to pass the ball to somebody else, or even if it's just for the well-being of the team before a big tournament.
Yeah.
I think with kia ora, it's quite not a hard game to play, but you need the tupu, you need the pau, you need all those things. But I've seen kids up north use a hoop and they have to bounce it in the hoop
Yeah.
instead of, and then they use 3 people facing inward as the tupu.
We used the pole the other day over our council.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So you use what you can.
Yeah.
Down at Botanical Gardens, there's actually 7 trees in a circle. So there's that. But yeah, so up north, it's 3 people facing each other, and they're the tupu. So they get smashed. But they came up with that. They didn't have the a kia ora set, so they just made their own.
And I think for a lot of our kids, for my boy, and especially for girls, a lot more why they drop out of sport, is they just want to go for their friends.
Yeah.
They just want to be social. So it doesn't have to be a competitive league. It can just be they just want to meet their mates and move. Yeah. And so creating opportunities in leagues like that is good too.
Yeah, and that's a big thing around environment, like how the environment that you create as a coach or a person that's managing the team, to be able to allow kids to have that choice as well, like actually asking them, what do you want to do? Like, what would make this more fun? Like, how could we change this up? Like, giving them that opportunity. Because a lot of times we go in, and sometimes it's just they're only coaching how they've been coached in the past. So that's all they know. It's just being able to, something different, just to be able to just change things up and just give them a chance to try something new.
Using different equipment, dressing up is always fun. Having a theme. Lots of things you can do.
I've tried before with kids in a sports setting where if they're so focused on the end goal that they're losing the joy, it's, hey, when you first started playing, what was the spark of joy? Like, what did you love about this game? I loved it when we got to do this. Well, let's pivot for a minute and do that. But that's not what we need to practice to win. No, right now we're working on just fun. Really taking it back a little bit and reminding them of like that spark that got them into it in the first place.
Yeah.
And distraction is good. Like we do tramps as a family. That's long. I want to focus on getting to that hut because if you focus on that, so I have great lollybooks and also distraction. Like Finn and I talked about Nerf guns for like 3 hours straight once on the EP track, and I got him to the hut, and we bonded and learnt lots of things, and he created new things as we were talking. So it's just funny. I think that is their spark. What's the thing they're passionate about?
Love it. Cool.
But add one more thing.
Yeah. Okay.
It was something I saw at ISAPA conference a couple of years ago in Dunedin, adaptive physical abilities, and it's about finding that spark and passion. So they were working with the Whai Kaha in Australia, and they wanted to do swimming lessons, but their passion was cowboys and country music. So they smashed the 2 of them together, and they created a program where they're at the swimming pool doing exercises to country music, wearing country hats in the pool and using water guns as pistols. And if they hadn't incorporated their passion of country music, they wouldn't have come back again. This program has been continuing for quite a long time now. So finding those cool things and smashing them up together. Yeah, if the kids are into Nerf guns and hockey, what does that look like smashed up together for a day?
Love it. Just on the topic of kiorahi, so Tākaro has deep roots in Te Ao Māori. How would you describe its place in our culture and how it might differ from the Western ideas of play?
I did read that earlier, and I thought, gee, that's a big one. How would I define Tākaro? Is that the question?
Yeah, well, how would you describe its place in our culture? And how does it differ from the Western style of play?
I think, if I just take away Tākaro and use play, because, up the coast, Tākaro wasn't used. It was play. Go and play. Or as Darryl always says, haere kiwa, which meant go outside. You have to play. So if I take that word away, it makes it a little bit easier. And I think I said before, it's very much a part of who we are. So even at the marae, when you hear speakers, if I think about play, and I think I've mentioned this before, in the whai kōrero, it's the play on words. They're very quick, very smart in their thinking. And so when one gets up and the other side gets up and they respond to that speaker, and then there's a lot of laughing going on. And so play is in that as well. It's not just physical.
Yes.
Not just a physical thing. It's a word thing. And so the waiata also isn't. It's like that one will get up and sing that one. And I think we saw it at Hawaii Ho.
Yes.
Where Victor got up and he talked about the tahaina. So that was, you stole my song. So, and there's a lot of playing in that. So if we take away from being physical and look at the things that are playful in our everyday life, in our marae life, in the pohiri process life, there's a lot of play that goes on. I guess physically we were always told to get out and play. So it's just a huge part of who we are, or what our culture is. Play. But then we had to learn too to be inside and wash the dishes and wipe the dishes. And that is a part of who we are in play. And sometimes, what's that? I'm going to wash the dishes, turn it over. We used to play that to get us through. As you and Finn got to the hut, we used to play that to get us through the big pile of dishes that we had to do. And, you'd have a nanny saying, stop playing. But then another nanny would say, why hotia, they're playing so they can get the dishes done. So there's play in work. Yeah. And then there's play in mahikai. So in our play, because we lived in the country, we learned how to pick, and sometimes we'd just say we're going to get mushrooms because we wanted to go to the river. And so we had to get the mushrooms to take home. But, our eyes were red when we got home. So they knew we'd been to all this stuff going on, that they knew we were doing. But we learned how to identify the difference between watercress and cowcress, different puha, mushrooms. And so it was, how many can you get? How many mushrooms can you get? Like, let's get each other. And so there's play in mahikai. So it's just a part of who we are. So I don't know if that answers culturally what play is, but it's in everything. It's not just physically playing.
Yeah.
It's in our whai kōrero, it's in our waiata, it's in even in swimming in mahikai in Tangaroa, gathering kai. It's just in everything. It's just, you've got to be able to see it and know where it's happening. And, a lot of times you can see, they're playing. And so, boom, off we go. We're in that group. Or if they've got a better game here, so it's boom, we're off there. They've got a better game. So it's always play, and it's always looking for the best play.
Love it. And then going back to when you talked about the nannies and they're learning the traditional Māori games, what are some of the ways we can bring back those games back into our communities and schools, and what impact do you think that would have?
I think first it is that they share that with their mokos, that they tell because a lot of the mokos have said to them, you're too old now. My moko has a go at saying that. It's just to teach the mokos the games. I think there is one particular nanny that I said I'm happy to go with her to her whare and talk about how important it is, and try and say this is my mahi, so I know what I'm talking about. A lot of time I don't, but I know what I'm talking about, and helping her to get that across the bridge that way, to have someone who's not a part of their sort of immediate whānau household.
There's a lot of interest in it. Remember you did Maui Mātou last year for Bay Week? That was we got the most hits on our website.
And it's also getting them to own the games. So, okay, how would you play it then? Smarty thing. And getting them to own that game. And so I'm a big believer in making your own games. Because then you own it.
Yeah.
And creating and varying games. And so it's like getting the mokos to own the game, to change the game, to make it theirs, to share it with their friends, and then they can change it. And, it's just never ending how you can play. So I guess that's the first way, is to get them to share and work out a way that they can share. I mean, there's nothing better that the people up the coast like than a wero. than a challenge. And that could be a challenge, nannies against the mokos. That's one way of, well, here's our game, where's yours? That kind of thing.
What about schools that maybe have never done Tākaro before and are scared to get it wrong or don't know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's just about how you introduce it. So if you're going to go there and they're hard and fast and this is how it is, then you're going to not get a good response. So it's just how you deliver the games. Yeah.
Nice. I think just something I've picked up there when you talk around the nannies and the mokopuna, it's like the intergenerational learning. I think it's massive. And if that's lost, then the whole idea of play could potentially fall away as well. So how do we, and you've mentioned it, like teaching the nannies, but how do we, I guess as adults, keep that alive so that we can keep playing? And I don't know, like I've probably asked this before and we've probably touched on this a bit, but is there anything that we've missed in terms of that, like looking at it intergenerational space?
I suppose what I do is I visit the nannies and then I get the aunties involved. And the sad part is I don't get many of the uncles involved. It's always the females that get involved. And so that's who I focus on. Usually focus on the person who is not the loudest, but the leader of a whānau, and focus on them and say, look, if you do this, and let's work together to try and do this. And so it's that person you need to look for. And it's funny because I do a whānau program, and at this last whānau program, I said we need to have our my whānau step up into different places where I always do it. And it's just about everything. I always do it. I'm the one who does it. So two of my mokos are doing the play, the Tākaro Māori, and we're going to have a workshop so I can teach them. And so it's just taking that time, and I'm happy to do that, to duplicate that with other whānau, and they know that. Happy to duplicate workshops in their whānau so that the younger ones can take them. So it's carried on, and it's led by the rangatahi.
It's all about big part about all of our jobs is finding those play champions. It does worry me that we're almost like the end of the golden weather generation. So it's really finding those play champions that will advocate it. They know the importance of it, and really elevating the importance of play up so everyone gets that it is an important life skill, and it is the foundation for sport that gets you to become like if you talk to any All Black or silver fern or anything, there'll be some amazing play memory with it. I've heard volleyballers talk about they used to climb trees to strengthen their hands. Play gives you all those fundamental skills, but for us it's finding those play champions, whether it's in a school or a whānau or wherever it is, who will promote it and make it happen right up all the levels of the system.
And I think we have this one nanny who's very much like that. So she created Uawa Whānau page for our program. She created this and added me in. And then I put in, I'll be there this Friday. And then she's like, right, whānau, we don't want Nin to be coming through for nothing. So you better be all there. And so she just lays it out. It's not much I have to do, just turn up.
I think when you think about play and memories and that intergenerational learning in a more general sense, sometimes that head, heart and hand thing is really good, and that's where play comes in, because you remember things most when you're hearing and doing and connecting to it in different ways. Hearing a story whilst creating something will make it stick a bit more for you, and play allows you to do that. I mean, one of my memories is catching whitebait in a stream, and the reason that I remember it is because we had a song that went with it. We created a song while we were on the bridge fishing from whitebait, and we had all of my aunts and uncles, great aunts and uncles there, and they were all joining in, and it made it really fun. But because we had, and I knew it was fun for them too, so you have that head, heart, hand piece, and that's something that I'll pass on as a learning of how to do this thing, because I remember it, because all of those things were connected together, and play is amazing for that.
There's a concept called the thinking hand. Your hand will actually figure something out before your brain does. So it's being all that tactile and experiential.
Love it. We're going to wind up, big question we normally do, a finale question with our guests, is we look at the value of sport, but obviously we're going to flip it today and look at the value of play. So just to wrap up, what does the value of play mean to you?
I think as a mum, is that my kids get to have the childhood that I had. I'm very grateful to be able to have been able to roam, and I think a creative person that I am today, the creative kind of person. It's definitely about my kids first and foremost. It's about all the other tamariki out there, that they have the opportunities to find out what their real special talent is. I think that's what play lets you find out. And for me, I think that I really love being creative in design. That kind of led me into my mahi. It lets you find your special talent. It connects you with your community. It connects you to place. And it connects you with your whānau. Just creating opportunities with it.
100% agree. Play is where the magic is.
Yeah.
It's where the magic happens. It's in between all the spaces. It's where you learn so many things. It's where you find your special talent. It's where you have the opportunity to take a risk and fail, but go down a different journey and learn something new. It's where you learn your resilience. It's where you connect with people and test out some of that social stuff and how you feel comfortable in connecting with people. It's where the magic happens.
Yeah. And we need that space for creativity. It's the one commodity that we're going to need going forward to solve a lot of problems that we've got, I think.
It's the human experience is the part that, and we haven't talked about AI, and I know we don't have time to go down there, but it teaches you resilience, it teaches you connection, it teaches you all of the things that people are going to need to navigate the world going forward. And I think that's really special.
Cool. I think play allows you to be any age. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Using it as.
No, I honestly, it's a great place to finish on. And thank you, ladies, for coming in today. I appreciate your kōrero. Absolutely love it. And I think it's something that probably needs to be talked around more. So definitely a challenge to all the listeners out there around thinking back around what play looked like for you and what can you do to become a play champion, like to be able to get out there and change things up a bit and give those kids the opportunity, and even yourselves, the opportunity to have some fun. But ngā mihi nui, thank you so much.
Ka whai.